Okay, so what we've got here is the home screen, and effectively, once you've set up the RealSafe, which I'll show you in a second, all you're doing is hit and record. And what it does is it initially, you can see the GPS is kicked in there, and it's just waiting to establish location. This is really important because if the satellite doesn't know where you are and you ride off, you're not effectively going to record a route because it doesn't know where you are. So it can take a few seconds. We're indoors, obviously, and once that happens, you'll get a little start pin. And then it worked like this in testing. So you'll get a little start pin like that, and effectively once you've got that, away you go, and it'll start record the route. What you can do at any point, if you stop, you can add what's called a point of interest. So because it's a location based app, it knows where we are. It knows we're on Woodland Road in Darlington. So I can now add this as a place to meet. So if I add that, we're going to have lots and lots of bikers turn up at your front door. I can take a photograph, add some notes, and then that effectively goes straight up to realrider.com so other people can see that. Okay, so I'm just going to delete that because we don't want to do that really. And effectively, once you have recorded a route, and you'll see the route I recorded down here today. So I left the office, it's recorded the miles, 24.2 miles. It's recorded my fuel. So what you do is when you set the app up, you put in there what is your average miles per gallon. So effectively, when you've recorded that route, it goes up to the website. Somebody could look at that and think, well, actually, I'm going to use that amount of fuel if I go on that particular route. So if you've got a really fast route, then fuel-wise, you're going to use probably more. So when you've recorded a route, this is the first thing that you see when you hit stop. So it's an overview of where you've been and where you're going to, and then you can add some details. Now what I've done here is route to star radio, mostly motorways. It wasn't a very interesting route. But what's really important here is we automatically hide the start point. There's a lot of concerns, has been a lot of concerns in the past, and this is why we listen to our customers and we change. If you're setting off from home and you're on an expensive sports bike, the last thing you want is for other people to know where you are. So we automatically hide that start point. We put the user in control. You can also hide the end point if they want to, or they can make the route completely private. Really, we don't want you to make the route private, otherwise what's the point of doing it? So at this point, if I've just gone up to a biker cafe and it's out in the middle of nowhere and I've got no 3G, no internet, well, I can just save it until later. Yeah. So again, you could do multiple routes. You'll see the route I did when I went all the way down to BMW recently, which was quite a long trip, 285 miles. And you can see where I stopped in and added a service station. Now, while I'm travelling down here, and you can see when I got down into parts of the south, if I'd had a crash, so here we go, I'm in a rural area here, if I'd had a crash at that point, and this was say 2 o'clock in the morning, this would alert the ambulance service to where I was. And that's the key. It's live route recording. It knows exactly where you are. We're not telling the server where you are at any point, so we're not tracking you live and we're not recording your speed, but it's if something goes wrong. And that's the process that RealSafe actually does. So what I could do effectively, add some details to it, and once I hit upload, that's when it goes up to realrider.com, and that's when you can actually view it, print it, etc., etc. The really interesting bit is the RealSafe. So this is the crash detection service. So effectively, what I'm not going to do now, but you've put your password in there, you enter your mobile number, your blood type, whether you're diabetic or not, and any other information that is required that a paramedic would need to know about you. So if you're laid there unconscious and a paramedic turns up, what do you want that paramedic to know about you? So we meet people that can't have morphine. How would they know that? So this is about delivering that information to the NHS, as soon as possible. Once it's set up, it's switched on. You can also hit the locate me. So if you didn't know where you were, and a lot of riders they'll just go somewhere and they'll take their fancy kind of thing. We do provide the location as well. So if one of your group riders has had a crash and you don't know where you are, then that's what this service does. So RealSafe is always on, and effectively once you hit record, it starts to monitor the sensors. Yeah. And that's really, from this version, that's about it. That's the core functionality. But this version will change quite massively this year.